If you're selling on Amazon or you're thinking about selling on Amazon, especially if you're new, then you're going to have a lot of questions. And that's the purpose of this video. I really enjoy going through all of the comments on my videos and answering and interacting with your questions. And there's a lot of questions that I see asked over and over again. So these common good questions that I think are really valuable and a lot of new sellers are wondering, I have compiled some of them right here to answer for you all. But first, if you don't know me yet, I'm Cassandra and I am an Amazon FBA seller. Right here on my channel, you will find all things Amazon FBA related. So if you're trying to start an Amazon business or scale your current business, then you're in the right place. If you could do me a quick favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel, that would really help us out. All right, here we go. Question number one that I see a lot. Do you just send the product to Amazon and wait for someone to buy it, then you get your profits? Do they give you an Amazon address to send it to and they do the rest? And the answer to that is yes, that is exactly what the FBA model is. Now, I see people confused about this, especially recently. Some people say to me, well, I don't want to sell to customers. How do I just sell stuff to Amazon? And the answer to that is you don't. As a third-party reseller, you are not buying products that already exist and then selling them to Amazon. The whole purpose of the FBA model is Amazon is going to be your warehouse. So you're going to get those products and send them to the warehouse that's typically closest to you, and they'll tell you exactly which warehouse to send to. So that's not anything you have to worry about. Once you create your shipment plan, right there you are going to buy and print out your shipping labels and just put them on the box. Amazon will dictate which warehouse they want it to go to. So that's exactly what's going to happen. They are being paid by you to hold on to the inventory, and then when a customer purchases it, you're paying them to pick it off the shelf, ship it, and take care of the customer service. So once a customer does purchase your product, then that is when you get the profit. So if you're choosing products that are just sitting there and they're not selling well, then you're paying Amazon to hold on to those products in their warehouse and you're not getting your profit back until they sell. That's why it's important to understand BSR and make sure that you're buying products to resell that have a really good rank and they're selling fast. Because the longer those products are sitting in the warehouse, the more fees you're paying to Amazon to store them there. So again, to sum that all up, you are not selling the products to Amazon, you are partnering with them, you are paying Amazon to hold on to the products, to grab them from the shelf, send it to the customer, and once that happens, then you get your profit for the product. On to the next question. I just created an Amazon seller account and it looks everything is not approved to sell. Is there any way to ungating brands faster? This is typically the first problem new sellers run into. They figure out how to open up their account and then they realize, whoa, I cannot just sell whatever I want to sell. I'm going to be restricted in tons of brands and tons of categories. So the very best thing to do to try to get ungated is to first figure out where are you already ungated, because there are going to be areas that are ungated. But the thing is, it's not the same for everybody. So I can tell you that for me, I was first ungated in office supplies and arts. And the only way that I figured out what I was ungated in is by going to the stores and scanning everything that I could in a wide variety of brands and categories and just requesting approval. So make sure you download that Amazon Seller Central app. Right at the top, you're going to hit the little camera and you can physically scan the product, or you can scan the barcode on the back, or you can just manually type it into the search bar. Once the product comes up, you're going to click the screen and click Request Approval. Amazon will shoot you back and say that you are approved to sell, or they will say you need prior documentation. So start here. Figure out what you can sell, get your hands on those brands and those products and sell them. The more that you do this and prove to Amazon that you're a good seller and you understand what you're doing, you will start to see new brands open up. That's called auto-ungating. It's just going to happen. Is there a way to make this process happen faster? Yes, there is. There is a way to go around the gate, and that is by providing an invoice. So first, figure out where do you really want to sell? Which category do you want to be in? For me, that was grocery. So I was able to find an authorized distributor of a grocery brand, Goya. And the way that I knew that Amazon was going to accept this invoice was I heard a ton of other sellers say they were using it and it got approved for them. But keep in mind, what works for one person doesn't always work for another. So I found my distributor and then I went onto Amazon and found a product that this distributor was able to sell to me. In my case, it was Goya Angel Hair Pasta. I found that listing, made sure the product matched that I was going to buy, and I had to buy 10. That is the magic number. So that is a way that you can bypass being gated. Find a distributor that Amazon's going to accept, and then you need 10 units. Once you have those 10 units, you're going to take a picture of all 10 laid out, the front of it, flip them over, take a picture of all 10, the back view, and you are going to upload both of these photos as well as the invoice. Now, for the invoice, it has to have your name and your shipping info that is in your Amazon seller account. So don't use a name and an address that's not associated with your account. And it also has to have the distributor's information on it, so who they are and what their address is. Then it has to show that brand and that you purchased at least 10. Once you have these things, you will upload them, submit the application, and you should get approved to sell in that category and that brand. But keep in mind, just because I did this with Goya and ungated grocery and gourmet food, that didn't mean I could sell every brand in grocery and gourmet food. It opened up the category as a whole, and Goya was now opened up for me. But there were a lot of other brands in there that I was still not able to sell. So once you're ungated in a category, that doesn't mean it's free range of selling every brand within that category. This next question is one that I definitely see a lot. One thing that I need to know is how about the shipping costs and how to calculate the pack fees at the prep center. Shipping cost is going to be relative to the size and the weight of the products in the box. So for me personally, I max out my boxes. You can't go over 50 pounds. So I try to get that as close to 50 as possible. And when I do that, it usually costs me about $25 on average to pay for the shipping, doing the partnered shipping that Amazon offers. So knowing that, I can take that $25 and divide it between how many units are in the box. So because a lot of my products are really small and really light, I'm able to fit a lot of units in one box for that $25 mark. However, if your products are larger and heavier, then obviously you can't fit as many into that box for $25. If I'm only able to fit 5 units in there, then that's costing me about $5 in shipping per unit. But if I have 50 units in that box, now I'm only paying 50 cents per unit to ship. So how to calculate your shipping is really going to be based on knowing that a full box is going to be estimated $25, and the smaller and lighter those products, the more you're going to get into that box. Then what you do is divide that total shipping cost between all of the units to figure out how much you're paying per unit to ship. Now, as far as figuring out the cost to use a prep center, I can't tell you that exactly because every prep center is independent and they are different. They all have their different rules. So that's why it's really important when you want to get a prep center that you do your full research into it. Some of them have pretty inclusive packages where pretty much everything is just bulked into one price. However, others are going to nickel and dime you and charge you for every little thing. So it's important to know that. But I can say that where I've seen the best rates are in those states that don't have sales tax. It's very competitive there, and usually the prices are lower, typically starting around $1 to $2, maybe tops per unit, and then typically you have to pay for poly bags and bubble wrap on top of that. And yes, you're exactly right. If you are doing multi-packs, they typically charge you a little more for that as well. But the only sure way to know the cost is to communicate this with your prep center and find out from them directly, because they're all going to be different. The next common question is, which softwares do I need? And this is important to figure out because there are dozens upon dozens of Amazon softwares out there. And if you are creating memberships and paying a fee to each of these, then that's really going to eat into your profit margins, especially in the beginning when you don't have a lot of products to sell. So the number one thing that you need as a new seller, it's a non-negotiable, you have to have this, Keepa. Keepa is going to be your eyes for the things that you can't see. Just looking at a listing, you're not going to see the back end things, the historical data on it. So Keepa, number one, you have to sign up for that. Number two, as a new seller, you're probably not going to know how to see red flags with brands and know if they're going to hit you with an intellectual property violation. So because of that, you're probably going to want IP Alert. Just Google this, you download the Chrome extension, and I think it's under $100 to have it for the entire year. And what this does is in their database, they have tons of different brands who they know are issuing IP violations to customers trying to sell their products. products. So if you click on one of these listings that they know the brands do not want resellers selling it, then a little warning will pop right up on your screen that says this brand is known to issue IP complaints. So that is going to be super helpful for you, especially in the beginning, to make sure that you're not getting in trouble and selling brands that they don't want you selling their products. So the two that are really, really helpful in the beginning, Keepa and IP Alert. And obviously, I have to put a little plug in here. The other software that I would say, ProfitGuru. Our software literally has everything that you need for each model. If you want to do some arbitrage research, it's there. Storefront stocking, looking at all of that data. If you're trying to find wholesale suppliers, we have that too. Bulk analysis, so you can put the catalogs in and have them be scanned for you. And we even have areas for private labeled research. So it really is an all well-rounded program, and everything that you need is there. We have your Keepa information for each product, your historical data, your sales estimator, your profit calculator. And not to toot our own horn, but it is the cheapest software for all of these services that you'll be able to find. That question lends nicely into the next common question I see. As a beginning seller, would you recommend Tactical Arbitrage or SellerAmp for sourcing? Also, what is your opinion of Inventory Lab? Let's hit the Inventory Lab first because that's a little easier to answer. And my answer is yes, 100%. I really, really like Inventory Lab because it makes that workflow when you have to upload your things into your Seller Central account so much easier than trying to do it through your Seller Central page. So I really like it for that feature. And also they're going to keep track of all of the different spreadsheets and numbers, all of the data stuff right there. However, what I don't like is their price just keeps rising up. So I do think it's really beneficial, but just in the past year, it's gone up like $30 more than what it was this time last year. So if it keeps climbing like that, that might be eating into your profit margins. And in that case, you might just want to learn how to do it in Seller Central and not have to use Inventory Lab. But overall, I will say I use it for all of my shipments and I do really recommend their service. Now, the question between SellerAmp and Tactical Arbitrage. I get asked this so often, and it's really hard to answer because it really depends on your sourcing style. If you are just wanting to take a website, plug it in, and have software scan it for you, well, that's Tactical Arbitrage. You can't do that with any other software that I'm talking about here. The only software that I know of in the United States where you can just plug in a storefront, do a couple fancy things, and have it scan for you is Tactical Arbitrage. But yes, there is a learning curve with it, and yes, it does not work perfectly. There's a lot of mismatches. So for that reason, I would say if you can only get one or the other, then I would recommend SellerAmp. And the reason for that is because there's a lot more that SellerAmp can do than what Tactical Arbitrage is doing. SellerAmp can't scan stores for you, but it can give you a lot of other really, really good and helpful information. It's going to pop up nicely on every single listing, and you're going to be able to just glance at that SellerAmp and know exactly whether or not you should purchase this product. So again, I guess it's a preference thing, but if I had to say to a new seller, only wanting to invest in one, I'd get SellerAmp over Tactical Arbitrage in the beginning. Another common question that is a really great one, at which point in your business would you reach out to wholesalers? What kind of budget? Say $2,000, $5,000? As soon as you understand what the world of reselling looks like, maybe you've done a little bit of arbitrage, you've gone into some stores, you've sent a shipment of that. Once you understand how the flow is, then I would say start working on what you need to find wholesalers. And really what you're going to need is a reseller certificate and preferably an LLC. You want to make yourself established as a real business. Once you reach out to these wholesalers, they're going to want that. They're not just going to take your word for it that you are in business to resell. They're going to want your EIN that you're going to get for taxes. They'll want to know if you are an LLC, and they will definitely say, we need to see your reseller's paperwork. So once you have all of that, then you need to have, I would say, between $1,000 to $2,000 of a cushion in your account. Yes, some wholesalers are going to have a really high minimum order quantity, but they're not all super high. The ones that I work with are generally around a $500 to $1,000 minimum order quantity. You might see some that say something like $10,000 for an MOQ, but that's not really typical for the brands that us resellers on Amazon are working with. So as long as you have a couple $1,000s of a cushion that you are going to be able to invest in these products and maybe not need the profits back right away, then I'd say you're good to go. Get the paperwork, have a couple $1,000s, and start looking for your accounts. This next one's a good one. If an item isn't selling, will you drop your price even taking a loss, or do you ask Amazon to ship it back to you? I definitely have encountered this problem, and how I handle it is kind of a little different each time. So let me run you through a few examples and what I would do. Let's say I'm trying to sell a can opener and it was going for $20, but now a ton of sellers have found this listing and the buy box has dropped down to $10. I'm not going to just automatically start panicking. I'm going to look at it for a little bit. I'm going to say, okay, how many other sellers have jumped onto this now and how much do they have in stock? Yeah, I might drop it down a little bit just to keep things good with the buy box rotations and making sure I'm still in it, right? You don't want to just keep a solid price. You do want to be repricing, but I'm not going to panic and then jump mine from $20 all the way down to $10 just because I see some other sellers do it. So at first, I'm just going to stay cool and calm. I'm going to see how many other sellers there are. If they only have a couple in stock and I know that this can opener is selling really well, then guess what? They're probably going to run out of stock and be gone and not jump back onto the listing. And in that case, then the buy box should come back up to where it was. However, if you are doing that and you're noticing, oh gosh, the buy box is just staying at this lower price, more and more people are coming on and they all keep going to this $10 price. Well, at that point, if I thought it's probably going to stay down there, I'm going to figure out the cost that I can set it at to just break even. I'm going to try to not take any loss on it and just go to a break even price to get rid of it. So that would be the second strategy. The third strategy is if that's not even working and now it's still not selling, obviously I'm not going to want to just pay for it to sit in the warehouse and have to keep paying these fees to have it sit if I know it's not going to go for that price and it's been a while and that buy box has been staying down there low. So now I'm going to say, okay, if I drop it down to be competitive and to be at that low buy box range, how big of a loss am I taking here? If it's not that much of a loss, then I might just say, do it. Drop your price down, get rid of that inventory, and be done with that listing. However, if it's something that I can use and it's going to be beneficial for me to have it back, then yes, I will go in and request a removal order and have Amazon send it back to me. But keep in mind that they don't do that for free. That's going to cost you some money. So that's how I look at it. If this is something that I can benefit from or I'm going to use, what's going to cost me less? Am I going to pay more to just drop the price and get rid of it? Or am I going to pay more to ship it back to me? If it's going to cost about the same, but it's something that I'm actually going to use, then I'll have it shipped back to me. However, if it's something that expires and it's getting close to the expiration date, especially if it's something that I'm not going to use, then I'm just going to have Amazon dispose of it or liquidate it. So you get a little bit back, but it's next to nothing. So the way I look at it, it's always a little different. And it also depends on how much money do you have to play with. Is this something where you are low on money and you need those profits back? For me personally, I don't have that problem, so I don't panic and drop my price. I'm fine with just sitting on it for a month and hoping that that buy box comes back up. But I would say definitely don't panic and just kind of watch it. Look at how much stock is there and when you think that buy box should return to normal. If that's not happening, okay, now think about it. Go to your break even price. If that's still not working, now what? Am I going to take a loss and just be done? Or am I going to want to use this product myself and take a loss and have it sent back to me? The next question is how you can take your products and put them into the Small and Light program, and do we offer a mentoring program? Let me talk about the mentoring first, because for the Small and Light, I want to screencast and take you into my computer to show you exactly how to do that. For one-on-one mentoring, we are not offering that right now just because that is something that is very time consuming and we don't have the time right now to offer that service. However, we are spending a lot of time working really hard on creating you guys an all-inclusive course. So especially if you're a new seller, you don't have to do what I did. Just search on YouTube and not really know what you don't know and waste so many months trying to learn it on your own. This course is going to be full of dozens and dozens of videos that I made just for the course, and all of the information will be in sequential order. What you need to do first, next, next, next. Everything laid out beautifully. So when you're done with the course, you're going to save yourself a ton of time by learning what you need to know and not having to question what you need to learn. You'll learn it all right in order and then you'll be good to go. Also, the course is going to be a lifetime membership. So as I'm updating new things, finding new strategies, or if Amazon policies are changing, anything that I make that's, again, these aren't going on YouTube for everybody. They are just going to go into the course and you will always have the updated video. So it will not be outdated ever. As we continue to update it and change, you are are going to be a lifetime member and get access to that. But like I said, we are still in the works with that. It is taking us a while because we want to make sure that this is done very well. Once that's ready for you guys, I will be sure to let you know. All right, let me show you a little bit more about how to get those really small and really light items into the Small and Light program. You can enroll most of your products, as long as they're not in restricted categories, into the Small and Light program if they are priced $12 and under and the weight is not exceeding 3 pounds. And the reason why this program is so awesome is because typically if you're selling something that costs less than $12 in price for the consumer to buy, then there's probably not any profit in that product unless you're able to buy it for like $3. So what the Small and Light program does is it decreases the Amazon fees. So where there might not have been profit with the regular fees for these products that are light and small and are priced $12 or under, now there could be potential profit because Amazon is going to charge you less in FBA fees. So what you're going to do is take that product and upload it into your Seller Central inventory like you would any other product. Now, what you need to do next is come right here to your inventory and look at the SKU number. So if this top product here was one that met those requirements and I wanted to enroll in the program, I am going to take this SKU number and copy it. And now up here at the top, I'm going to go to Small and Light Enrollment. And then right here on the side, you're going to see some articles pop up and you're just going to have to play with it and click on some. So let's start right here for create offers. And now this is popping up. So I'm going to go right here and click this clickable link. Let's click enrollment page. And there, we found it. So I don't know why they don't make it so that it's very easy to find. But now once you're able to access this page, you're going to come right here to enroll products. Come down to quick enroll. And then right here, you're going to paste that SKU from your inventory. Then you will check eligibility and it will pop right up and tell you if it's eligible or not. So if it meets the requirements, right here it would say eligible, and all I would do is click and then enroll the product. And boom, that's it. Now the fees are going to be less than the regular FBA fees, and hopefully now you can get some profit from this product. So super easy to enroll. You just need to take that product and upload it like you would any other product into your inventory, then go to your inventory tab, take its SKU and bring it right here to the enrollment page. It's as easy as that. So there we have it, some of the most common questions that I am seeing over and over again. And I feel like these are really common questions to have. So hopefully by watching this and hanging out with me, you were able to learn something new and that it provided value for you and your Amazon business. If you enjoyed this style of Q&A, let me know down in the comments below. And if you want me to do this type of video again. If you are interested in me doing another Q&A like this, pop down in the comments below which direct questions you want me to answer in the next video. That's it for this one, and I'll catch you in the next video.